हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय चैनल डो टू स्टडी। तो आज हम एक नया चैप्टर स्टार्ट करेंगे हिस्ट्री का, और वो है चैप्टर 5 द मुस्लिम लीग। ओके, तो इतना अभी तक मैं जितना भी चैप्टर्स कवर कर चुकी हूँ, आई होप दैट यू ऑल हैव स्टडीड एंड you all have watched the videos. Okay, so let's start with this new chapter, that is the Muslim League. Okay, तो आप सब जानते हैं कि इससे पहले हम लोग फॉर्मेशन ऑफ कांग्रेस देखे थे, isn't it? And it was an ऑल इंडिया पार्टी too. पर एक ऑल इंडिया पार्टी का प्रेजेंस ऑलरेडी होने के बाद ये मुस्लिम लीग सेपरेटली फॉर्म करने का जरूरत क्यों हुआ, या फिर बस मुस्लिम्स के लिए एक सेपरेट पार्टी फॉर्म करने का रीजन क्या था? ओके, तो ये सब हम आज के वीडियो में देखेंगे, दैट इज फैक्टर्स leading to the formation of the Muslim League. Okay, now before coming to that, a very important word that you have to know is communalism. Okay, communalism, say it comes from the word community. Okay, तो communalism मतलब ऐसे कुछ special rules या फिर कुछ special faith जो बस एक community के लोग follow करते हैं. Okay, and they keep themselves apart from other communities. Okay, तो ये है communalism. Now, in our country, both Hindus and Muslims, okay, both these religions live together. Okay, even before the first war of independence also, they had great unity in them. Although they have different faith, different beliefs, but when coming to the unity, it was unbreakable, isn't it? अब इसका एक great example क्या है? First war of independence ही क्यों? इसमें दोनों ही हिंदूस मुस्लिम्स दोनों ही एक साथ आकर ब्रिटिश के अगेंस्ट फाइट किए थे, क्योंकि दोनों कम्युनिटीज को ब्रिटिश का जो बहुत क्रूएल मेथड्स था और जो भी उनका टैक्सेशन पॉलिसीज था, सब दोनों ही कम्युनिटीज को बेयर करना पड़ रहा था, isn't it? For that reason, both communities came together to drive out the British in the year 1857. That is in the first war of independence, isn't it? तो although वो successful नहीं थे, but still from that war only rise of nationalism took place in the hearts of Indians, isn't it? तो इससे हमें क्या पता चलता है कि अगर दोनों एक साथ और एक बार आते, then it might have possible, मतलब जब हमें फ्रीडम मिला उससे पहले ही हमें शायद फ्रीडम मिल चुका होता अगर सब कोई और एक बार एक साथ आते तो, isn't it? But वो नहीं हुआ, and then finally it was too late. That is 1947 we got freedom, isn't it? Okay, so इससे ब्रिटिश को पता चल गया कि अगर ये दो कम्युनिटीज एक साथ मिलकर काम करेंगे, दो रिलीजन एक साथ रहेंगे, then it's a great danger for us. Okay, then they might drive us out of our country. Our rule in this country may end. So now they took foolproof protection such that once again both of them won't come together and won't raise their voice against the British. तो लोग ऐसा प्लान करने लगे. क्या था वो प्लान? मेनली पॉलिसी ऑफ डिवाइड एंड रूल. ओके, तो उनका पॉलिसी ऑफ डिवाइड एंड रूल मतलब कि वो लोग कास्ट को रिलीजन से सेपरेट कर रहे थे, हिंदूज को मुस्लिम से, मुस्लिम्स को हिंदू से सेपरेट कर रहे थे, कास्ट को कास्ट से सेपरेट कर रहे थे. दैट इज हायर कास्ट के लोग और लोअर कास्ट के लोग के बीचों में एनिमिटी ला रहे थे. ओके, so in this way, wherever possible, in what ways possible, they try to instill the policy of divide and rule. Okay, understood? Now let's move on. Okay, so what happened? This British people said that and convinced the Muslims that you are not gonna get any special freedom or anything like that, because here in India these people who are now in politics, who are very active in politics, they are trying to convert this country as a Hindu-dominated country. It was already Hindu-dominated because the majority of the people were Hindus, but still they are converting the country as a Hindu rule. ओके सो वो लोग बोल रहे थे कि जो भी नेशनल मूवमेंट्स हो रहा है सब बस एक ही मोटिव से हो रहा है, वो है हिंदू किंगडम फॉर्मेशन का. सो यू ऑल डोंट हैव एनी चांस हियर, सो यू हैव टू फॉर्म योर ओन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन और योर ओन पॉलिटिकल पार्टी. ओके, तो ये ब्रिटिश ही थे जो एक सेपरेट पॉलिटिकल पार्टी फॉर मुस्लिम्स का आइडिया प्रेजेंट किए थे. ओके, बट अगर हम कांग्रेस का बात करें, इट वाज नॉट अ रिलीजन बेस्ड पार्टी. Or people from all religions took part in it. Okay, but here the British knowingly knowingly pressurized the people, or knowingly they convinced the Muslims that they need a separate political party because they are not gonna get any justice with the national movement that is going on. Okay, तो ये इससे क्या पता चला कि ब्रिटिश ही थे जो एक सेपरेट पॉलिटिकल पार्टी, एक सेपरेट कम्युनल ट्रेंड को सेटअप किए थे. अब देखते हैं वो लोग क्या क्या बेसिक या क्या क्या फैक्टर्स था जिसके वजह से मुस्लिम लीग फॉर्म हुआ. ओके, फर्स्ट वन इज लॉस ऑफ सॉवरेनिटी बाय मुगल रूलर्स. ब्रिटिश जो थे इंडिया में रूल करना स्टार्ट किए थे, इजंट इट. अब वो कैसे स्टार्ट किए थे? मुगल रूलर्स को हरा के. ओके, दे डिफीटेड द मुगल थ्रोन and then they started ruling over India. Okay, so it was they who took away the sovereignty from the Mughal rulers, and these Mughal rulers were followers of Islam. Okay, so as a result the Muslims obviously became the enemies of British, isn't it? So as they were bitter enemies of the British, so they joined the Wahhabi movement. Okay, now this Wahhabi movement was a movement which was initiated to drive away British out of India. So in that also they participated. Furthermore, in the first war of independence 1857, in that also they showed their immense participation. Understood? So therefore, after the first war of independence, the British knowingly said that you Muslims are responsible for this war. Okay, and they looked at them with suspicion. Understood? Now, after the 1870s, and now in this moment of time, that is after 1870s, the British changed their attitude. Now they thought if they will hold Muslims responsible for this thing, and they will look at them with suspicion, then it may occur that they might turn against them. So now we should apply a different policy, and that is appeasing to the Muslims. That is saying or supporting the Muslims in each and everything, and arouse in them a feeling that we are supporting you, but the Hindus are against you. Okay, so here you can see the policy of divide and rule. Okay, so we are supporting you. The British will say that the British are supporting you, but you cannot get the support of Hindus. So you have to form a separate political organization. Okay. So in this way, they started dissension between the two communities. Okay. Now let's move on to the second one. The second one is British policy of divide and rule. Now there were many British policies as we discussed earlier. That is, after the first war of independence, their main motive was divide and rule. So there were many British policies of divide and rule that motivated the Muslims to have a new organization, to have a new political party that would hear the Muslims' grievances, okay, and solve their problems, and would be led by their ideas and thinkings. Okay, so let's see what are they. See, the British saw the unity of Hindus and Muslims as a threat to them, so they wanted to divide these Hindus and Muslims. Now how? See, 1871, Lord Mayos, at that time governor at that time in 1871, Lord Mayo was the governor, and during that time he adopted a new policy according to which Urdu, okay, the language Urdu would be the medium for the students in primary, taking primary and secondary education. Okay. And furthermore, they increased the aid, that is the increased help that were given to Muslim, that were given to that are to be given to schools led by Muslim leaders. Okay, तो वो लोग क्या किए, जो मीडियम था पहले, I think it's Hindi or English. Okay, in Western schools it's obviously English, and other schools it was Hindi or their regional language, isn't it? But instead of that, they started a policy in which the Muslim students have to or will learn or will complete their primary education and secondary education in the Urdu language. Okay, so this made the Muslims very happy. Yes, that the British are supporting us, they are supporting our language. All these feelings came to them. And furthermore, in order to appease the Muslims more, what they did was, all the schools that were run by Muslim leaders or Muslim communities, to that they gave more and more government aids, that is more and more help. So by this act also they were very happy that yes, we are getting a great support from the government. But on the other hand, the Hindus were not getting any such aid. So here you can see a division. Okay, now the next one is that they tried to create hatred among the communities, hatred among the religion as much as possible. Okay, now they showed the Hindu rulers, okay, they showed the Hindu rulers as very cruel to the Muslim subject. मतलब कि वो मुस्लिम्स को ऐसे बताए कि जो भी हिंदू रूलर्स है वो लोग सब बहुत क्रूएल है और वो मुस्लिम्स के प्रति कुछ भी जस्टिस नहीं शो कर रहे हैं. Okay, so they are very cruel to the Muslim subjects, whereas to the Hindus they made the people think that the Muslim rulers are plunderers. Okay, so it was the second one, that is under the British policy of divide and rule. Now let's the third one. See, in our previous videos, in our previous chapter, we have discussed that the partition of Bengal was done, isn't it? And for that they tried to give the justification that for the good of the governance we are doing this partition. But the actual reason was on the basis of religion, to break the religious unity. Okay, to break the national unity. So now, you know, there were two provinces. One was a Hindu majority province and the other was a Muslim majority province. So they tried to convince the people in the Muslim majority province by saying that, see, now you have a separate province of your own, now you have a separate area of your own in which the Hindus will not enter in your problems, the Hindus will not interfere, and it would be completely led by the Muslims. So you need to be happy. Okay, in this way they explained. Next, the caste structure. As I said earlier, there was caste structure in India, isn't it? That is Brahmin, Kshatriya, Shudra. Now in this way, the division was done, and the Brahmins were at the uppermost level, whereas the Shudras were in the lowermost level, isn't it? Now these upper caste and lower caste systems prevailed. So what happened? They tried to utilize this too. That is, they turned the lower caste people against the higher caste and the higher caste people against the lower caste. Okay. Now next, they treated Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs as separate communities. That is, they treated all three religions as separate religion, and they accepted the religious leader of these religions as the community's leader. Okay. Now, by doing this, what would happen? That separatist feeling would also be instilled in the minds of these people too, isn't it? Next, they tried to spread communal hatred. That is, एक religion को दूसरे religion से नफरत होना. Okay, this communal hatred through every means, like press, poetry, literature, novels, drama, जो सब वे पॉसिबल था, स्पीचेस, राइटिंग्स, सो जो सब वेज पॉसिबल था हर जगह पे वो यही फैलाने लगे. एंड व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट व्हेन वी हियर टू वन थिंग मेनी टाइम, देन our minds also says that yes, it's correct, what they are saying is correct. Okay, and furthermore their speeches were such that it would convince you. Okay, so these were the British policy of divide and rule. Now the next one is relative backwardness of Muslims community in education, trade and industry. Okay, one more reason that was very important to note, that one more reason that played a prominent role in the formation of Muslim League is relative backwardness of the Muslim community in literature, trade and industry. That is, they were, in comparison to the Hindu community, they were relatively backward. Okay, now how or why it happened? The Muslim community, they felt that their religion and their customs, they stick to their religion and customs, and so so therefore what happened is that therefore they did not adopt the Western education. Okay, so very few Muslims were there who took the Western education, who read the Western education. Okay, so the upper class Muslims constituted of the zamindars and the aristocrats. Okay, now these people during the first 70 years of British rule, they felt that our community is the best, our what you can say, our styles and our all the rules are the best. That is, and they were very conservative, you can say. Okay, and therefore they did not adopt modern education. Because of this, the people who were educated were very less. The Muslims who were educated were very less. Okay, now the second one, see, that is after 1857, the British consciously held Muslims responsible for the first war of independence, and therefore they were not recruited in armies and other organization. Okay, that is in civil and military services. Okay, this also made the Muslims hostile because many Hindus were there and from our community no one was there. Okay, next, the Muslim community was not much involved in the growth also. Growth of what? Industries and trade. Growth of industries and other things. But on the other hand, the Hindus were actively participating. So, if as they are saying that the Hindus are doing everything but we are not doing anything, then a division or a hatred is developing automatically in their hearts. But they are not focusing on the fact that they are the ones who are not getting involved. They are the ones who are not moving forward to actively participate because they were conservative and they were not taking up Western education. Okay, next one. See, some members of the Muslim community did not keep up with the modern trends in social and cultural spheres. Okay, because they were proud of their own literature and custom and cultural activities, and they should be too, but at the same time they should also take up the Western education with them. Okay, now, but whereas if we talk about the Hindus, many Hindus adopted the Western education and therefore they were successful in many spheres too in which the Muslims were lagging. Okay, so if as these circumstances were prevailing, it was very easy for the British to show that the Hindus are more better than you, or to sow the seeds of hatredness between the Hindus and the Muslims. Okay, because you can see that in every sphere where Muslims were lagging, the Hindus were growing. So by showing this only, the British can create hostility between them. Okay, but at that time the Muslims were forgetting that it was their own fault that made them lag behind. Okay, So it was all about the relative backwardness of the Muslim community in education, trade and industry. Now let's come to the fourth one, that is role of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. See, now he was a great educationalist. Okay, so he was related to the education sphere, and he was also a social reformer. Now his view was that both Hindus and Muslims belong to one nation, that is one Qawm. Okay, but under the influence of the and he also set up a college, that is Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College. But afterwards, what happened? His views regarding Hindus and Muslims changed, and he said that the aims, the thoughts and the views of Hindus and Muslims are really different, and we want a separate organization. Okay, now how this change occurred, or why this change occurred? This change occurred due to the principal of the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, and the principal was a British person. Okay, and the name of the principal was Mr. Beck. Okay, so under the influence of the British principal, his views changed. So as a result, when the Congress was formed, All India, when the Congress was formed, at that time, that is Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, opposed it and formed a different political organization, and that is United Indian Patriotic Association in 1888. Okay. Why? Just to oppose the Congress. Okay. Now, in this effort of forming the organization, he was supported by the British principal of the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, that is Mr. Beck. What was Mr. Beck's idea? He said that the unity between Muslims and British was possible. That is, Anglo-Muslim unity was possible, but Hindu-Muslim unity was impossible. So they said that you don't try to unite with the Hindus because that's impossible. Rather, you try to unite with the British because it's possible. Okay. Now, it was said that Sir Syed Ahmad Khan believed that since Hindus are the majority as the Hindus are majority in India, therefore, even after independence, the Muslims would not get any voice, and it would be led by Hindu majority. Therefore, it's better that we should continue. Therefore, it's better that we should give our support to the British and let the British continue the rule in India. It said that it was his opinion, and as a result, what happened? Not as a result, and he said that if we would support the British, then in return we would get government jobs and other special favors. Okay, so it was said by Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. What did he say? That even if we get independence also, then also the Muslims will not have any voice in the ruling of the country, because India is a Hindu majority province. So, if we get independence, then the Hindus would rule over the country. But if the British continue their rule, then we can also get our facility, we can also get our we can also have our voice, and we will have a good life under the rule of the British. So it was his view, and as a result, he said that we should support the British, and in return, the British would supply us with government jobs and other special features. Okay, so it was the role of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan in the formation of the Muslim League. Okay, so by these sayings, he is creating a communalistic trend, a separatist force, okay, a separatist thought. Okay, now the next one is erroneous interpretation of history. See, none of us know what happened in the history. It's the evidences that we get, and from that evidences we frame out the story. Okay, now what happened was that at that time the history that were taught, the history that were written in books were really erroneous. That is, it had many errors, because they the communal historians were trying to show their religion, their rulers as superior than the rest of the religions and the rest of the rulers who came to India and ruled. So by reading this history which had many loopholes in it, the people also believed in it, and the communalistic trends, the communalistic feelings further developed. Okay, that's which means it increased. See, some British and communal historians divided the Indian history into two parts. That is the Hindu history and the Hindu periods and the Muslim periods. The Hindu periods means the rulers who belong to the Hindu religion, whereas the Muslim periods included the rule of Turks, Afghans and Mughals. Okay. Now, where the rulers in the Muslim period, the rulers were followers of Islam. Okay. Now, in the Hindu period, in the Hindu period, the Muslim rulers were dubbed as foreign invaders. Invaders means जो बाहर से आके हमारे कंट्री में अटैक करते हैं और इधर से चीजें स्टील करके ले जाते हैं. Okay. So, in the Hindu history, in the Hindu period, it's mentioned that the Muslim rulers are invaders and who had in course of time settled in India. So in the Hindu history, Rana Pratap, Shivaji and other leaders are portrayed as great heroes, whereas the Muslim rulers like Akbar, Aurangzeb and other Muslim rulers are just shown as plunderers. Okay, understood. So in this way they are creating wrong notion among the people. Now the second one. Instead of creating a composite history, they were trying to create a rift between the religions. That is, by showing the Muslims in the Hindu period, the Muslims were shown as plunderers, and in the Muslim period, the Hindus were shown as cruel rulers. Okay. That is, they did not divide the history according to region-wise or class-wise. Rather, they divided history on the basis of religion. Okay. Next, some communal historians, they said that during the ancient period, India had flourished a lot, but whereas in the medieval period, whereas during the medieval period, there was no such significant development. Okay, that is, this medieval period were ruled by the Muslim rulers. So they are indirectly saying that the Muslim rulers had not done any good to our country. That is, they have not contributed for the development of our country. Okay. But they missed the fact that during the medieval period, great significant development had been seen in art, culture, and then religion, literature, Indian economy and society. Okay. Next one. This communal bias was also spread through novels, poetry, drama, literature. So wherever it was possible, they were trying to spread communal hatred only. Okay, so it was the fifth one, that is erroneous interpretation of history. Now the next one is, there is a sixth one, rise of assertive nationalism. You know that assertive nationalism had played a great role in the fight for freedom. They raised their voice wherever it was necessary, wherever the British were imposing cruel rules, wherever the British were imposing cruel policies, isn't it? But some of their acts was not so appealing to the Muslims. Like Tilak, Balgangadhar Tilak revived the Ganapati and Shivaji festival. You all have already read it, isn't it? So it was not so convincing for the Muslims, because if you see them, then it was religion based, isn't it? That is Ganapati and Shivaji festival. And furthermore, the initiation of the anti-partition agitation. You all have read, that is during the partition of Bengal, anti-partition movement was done, and at that time the initiation of the anti-partition agitation was done by dips in the Ganga, isn't it? that was also not so appeasing. And Aurobindo Ghosh's idea of our country as, and Aurobindo Ghosh's idea of nationalism as religion and India as mother. So these ideas of the assertive nationalists were not so appealing to the Muslims. Okay, now the next one is economic backwardness of the country. You know that at that time India was really backward in economic matters, isn't it? In financial matters. So what happened? It also contributed to the growth of communalism. How? Due to the British colonial policies, India lacked modern industrial development and there was acute unemployment among the educated youth. See, due to the British only the modern development in industries was very less, and therefore what happened? There was very less jobs available and therefore unemployment prevailed. Okay, so unemployment prevailed, and as a result the youth who were trying for jobs were really facing great problems. So they started saying that we want reservations on the basis of caste, religion and creed. And here the British got the opportunity to further once again apply their policy of divide and rule. But the people who were not getting jobs did not give importance to the fact that the British who are ruling were themselves responsible for their unemployment, isn't it? Because they were not allowing the indigenous industries and other industries to develop. So it was the British who were responsible. Okay, so these were the factors that led to the formation of the Muslim League. So here we come to the end of this chapter. In the next video, I will come with the next portion. So from this chapter only. So till then, bye bye and keep studying.